Hello, we're here on Witness This, and I got, I'm going to call him family because he's married to one of my cousin's sisters, so
Right.
this is
Right.
Kurt,
Hi.
and so you're married to Amy,
I am.
and you got two beautiful little boys here, and so you've got some cool Jesus stories. You were just kind of filling me in about it. And what I'm starting to learn here is the power of prayer. Just amazing things happen when you just take time to pray. You mentioned it when you ask people to pray for you. Don't be ashamed to ask people to pray. And what I've gotten into a habit here lately of, because I always said, yeah, I'll put you on my prayer list. And then it seemed like I never got it done. I stop right where I'm doing and I pray. So anyhow, enough jabbering on my end. Kurt, you mind kind of telling us your Jesus story?
Yeah. So, like you said, I have two beautiful boys, 5 and a 4-year-old, and Jaden is the 5-year-old, and Keegan is the 4-year-old. And Amy and I met at Northwest Missouri State. Didn't really attend church. We went to church off and on. Decided to get married. Started going to church quite a bit. One thing that made us start going to church more is Sam, Amy's father, told me that the only way that I could marry his daughter is if I took grandkids to church. So it's kind of a little bit of an ultimatum, but it all works out for the best because as we go along through the journey of our life, Jaden was born September 29th, 2011. I thought he was blonde hair, blue eyed, but actually he's albino, which most people don't really understand what albinism or albino means. There's 3 different types. There's your hair, there's ocular albinism, and then there's hair and eyes. So Jaden has hair and ocular albinism, so he's legally blind, low vision. He's got some problems with that. But we didn't really understand why God had that happen to us. We waited 5 years to get married. We thought we did everything right. Moved back, got ourselves stable jobs. Had a lot of questions. More frustrated than anything. Why us? But in the end, we realized that God had a plan. It was bigger than what we are. And we didn't realize that until Keegan was born. And Keegan was born with open heart surgery. He had to have open heart surgery at 7 days old. It was very interesting because I remember sitting in the hospital room. I would be at Children's Mercy Hospital at 5 a.m. for rounds. Stay with him until 11, till the last rounds were at 11 p.m. Then go stay with Amy in the other hospital because she had to have a C-section. And I took about 22 pages of notes total in the 4 days that she wasn't there. With Keegan, as we were going along through the journey with Keegan, I realized that the power of prayer is probably the most important thing that we could do as a body of Christ, because the more people you have that can pray with you, the better that you will be able to allow God to take over. I find it, looking back now, I wouldn't change it for a second. I remember sitting in the hospital room they told us to be there in a couple hours or the next morning, and the ambulance, which is not really an ambulance, it's like a tank on wheels. If anybody's ever been in a children's ambulance, it's basically a surgical room on wheels that they could do surgery right away. They have ER surgeon on every single ambulance at Children's Mercy that come just in case something happens. So we were driving down, and it was about that point in time that I said, I gotta give it up because there's nothing I can do. I've lost all control, and I was a control freak at that time. I wanted control of everything. I learned really quick that I can't have that control, that I've got to pray about it. I've got to give it up let God take care of it and let His will be done. So we had open heart surgery at 7 days old. Through the grace of God, Keegan was released post-op 4 days.
4 days.
4 days post-op. So he,
And what were they guessing? Was it a month?
yeah. So we're supposed to be in there for about a month to a month and a half, is what they thought, because of the severity of his illness. But 4 days post-op, he was off all 13 medicines that he was on within 12 hours of him being out of surgery.
Wow. Jesus.
So there's a lot of cool things to it, and like we've talked about earlier tonight, that this is not really my story. It's not really Amy and I's story. This is my responsibility as Keegan's parent, is to be able to tell him and understand that he knows his story, so he can go help other people, and let him understand who and why the story is important, and it comes back to Jesus, first and foremost. So that's kind of our story. It's really interesting. It's fun, and that's kind of where we're at in our life as we go forward. So
It sounded. Go ahead.
no, I'm
It sounded like through this whole situation, it sounded like God was working multiple things with you having control or feeling like you need control over, right? Yeah, I've seen him do this over and over where like he uses one issue to free you of so many other things, right? And I went through a situation to where once I let go of the wheel, or trying to drive the car, I let go, and then Jesus drove it for me, and it sounds like that was something similar in your end.
Yeah, there's a lot to that. Of most males want to have control of a lot of things, finances, money. As you want to be the leader of your household. But a lot of times, what we struggle with is we don't understand the leader of the household is not really us, but it's Jesus, first and foremost, because it's not our money, it's Jesus' money. It's not our belongings. This is not home. This is temporary. So even though we had to sign a certificate that says, okay, if he does pass away on the table, this is what we got to do with his body. We both were confident that he was going to go home if something happened. Now, we were very lucky that he's here with us temporary. We get to be his parents. But we've become pretty good friends with a lot of people with heart patients. And you become a family, and you learn some horrific things. And there's some people that aren't there, right? So there are some people that have lost some. So we don't take for granted every day. We make sure and pray. Our Facebook page is Keegan's Hope. We started a nonprofit organization,
Awesome, man.
providing teddy bears to everybody, stuffed animals to everybody at Children's Mercy in Kansas City. That way they can have some kind of hope, because there's nothing more important than hope and prayer.
Amen.
So,
Amen. So power of prayer. You mind just telling them how powerful prayer was for you, man?
yeah, prayer was probably the single most important thing that we had. And what's cool is Amy grew up in a family of 10 with 9 living. And they're not a small family. They're a big family, and when I say they're a big family, they have extended family all around the area. So they were praying, and we had prayer warriors in Arizona, where we lived previously. We had prayer warriors in Iowa. We had on the American Heart Association. There's tons of that prayer going on. What we learned most is, if you're in need of prayer, it's not a bad thing to ask for help.
Amen.
It's not a bad thing to ask for prayer. And it's okay to have God, ask God to pray for yourself. A lot of times people in today's world will pray for others and they forget about themselves. And I believe it's Chronicles 4:10. It's the prayer of Jabez. it's literally listing out all of the names in the Bible of all the different, I call it hierarchies, but all the different names in the Bible of everybody that's going on, and it stops. 2 Chronicles 10. Second Chronicle, I'll look it up. But before we leave, but the prayer of Jabez basically says, God, take care of me, heal me, keep your hand over me, widen my territory. So in the middle of all these names being listed out, there's a prayer of some little guy asking to pray for yourself, and that's okay to do. Because a lot of times as Christians, we want to just pray for everybody else because that's what we're supposed to do. Well, it's okay to pray for yourself and ask for prayer. And power of prayer, when you ask, it's funny when you ask, it will receive, might not be on your terms or might not be when you think it is, but it's full circle and it comes back around, and there's a lot of things that prayer helps you out with, for sure.
You receive not because you ask not.
Yeah, totally. So,
well, so in the video, they got a great video that their church kind of built for them to kind of give as a memory for this. At the end, there was Isaiah 24, 26, 2 through 4. You remember off the top of your head, was it Isaiah 24 or 26? Maybe Isaiah 26, 2 through 4, but the couple verses went right along with what they went through. It was quite amazing. But so real quick, man, just to throw in a plug for Keegan's Hope. I didn't know that you guys got a Facebook page for teddy bears for the kids at Children's Mercy.
yeah.
That's amazing. So do you mind spelling Keegan's Hope out for everybody, just in case you want to look them up on Facebook to donate to this cause? It's teddy bears. Why wouldn't you want to donate teddy bears to kids?
So it's Keegan's Hope. It's KEEGAN apostrophe SHOPE. Keegan's Hope. And we start collecting in the summertime and go all the way till the holidays and take it around the holidays, because what we've learned is that there's more families in the hospital during the holidays than any other time. And not a lot of people know that because they're spending time with their family and friends, which is fine. But God doesn't forget about them either. So we try to provide them hope and try to do certain things. We also go down to Children's Mercy and we serve once a month and make meals and do certain things, and you try to give back, because that was the only way we were able to eat for 11 days, because we didn't want to leave.
Through other donations, people donating?
Yes, donate, and they go down and spend their time and cook, but they don't in the Ronald McDonald House. If you guys don't know about that, go check it out. It's a huge deal. But I didn't want to leave his side for 11 straight days, so I wasn't going to eat. I wasn't going to sleep. I didn't care. So, definitely, and I appreciate your time.
Oh man, what an amazing story, and thank you so much for sharing, man.
Absolutely.
So, man, that right there is the kingdom upon us. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you.